Welcome, everyone. ACES, our Arts and Culture Enrichment Series, the Office of Online Engagement, and SNHU online chapter of the National Society of Leadership and Success are all thrilled to have you here for this exciting event. We'd like to introduce our interviewer for this evening, Dr. Lowell C. Matthews. He is an associate professor and director of the honors program here at University College. Dr. Matthews has developed courses discussing current and relevant issues, including Black Lives Matter, white privilege, and the impact of diversity in the workplace. He also volunteers with Big Brothers of Manchester and the Southern New Hampshire AIDS Task Force, among other important work in the community. Please help me welcome Dr. Lowell Matthews to the stage.
Thank you, Colleen. I hope you're ready for a true conversation this evening, right? We're gonna get down. We're gonna really talk about some key issues related to where we are in society. So thank you for joining us this evening. A huge shout out to ACES and the Office of Online Engagement. And we are thrilled to welcome ICE to our campus this evening. Our discussion will be interview style, so featuring some of the questions that you actually submitted when you purchased your tickets. Then there will be an opportunity for those of you in the audience to ask some questions. We will have microphones set up for you. Also, on your way in, you should have received a raffle ticket. At the conclusion of the formal program, we will be drawing names to win entrance into the meet and greet that will happen after the conversation. I'm sure you know that Ice-T not only invented gangster rap, all right? He has lived it. Ice-T is the original embodiment of LA hip-hop and a cultural icon through his music, books, and his lecture tours of American prisons, high schools, libraries, colleges, including such distinguished universities as Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, and now Southern New Hampshire University. Ice-T has truly become an influential spokesman for Americans' youth, regardless of color. Born in New Jersey, Ice-T learned the art of survival pretty fast. As an only child whose parents died when he was very young, Ice-T became involved in Los Angeles gangs before spending 4 years in the Army. His first break came when the producers of the film Breakin asked him to rap in the movie. He went on to become rap music's original gangster, writing songs like 6 in the Morning and New Jack Hustler. Ice-T formed Rhyme Syndicate Records in 1989 and released a string of groundbreaking West Coast rap records. He subsequently formed the thrash-metal band Body Count with high school friend guitarist Ernie C. Body Count's 1991 self-titled debut contained the controversial single Cop Killer. Body Count was the most critically acclaimed act on the highly successful 1991 Lollapalooza tour and continues to travel worldwide. Ice-T currently stars in NBC's Law & Order Special Victims Unit, where he portrays that detective that we all love, Finn. For 3 seasons in 2012, 2013, Ice and his wife, Coco, starred in the reality show Ice Loves Coco. As an artist, his reach crossed into interactive media. He is the voice of Griffin in the billion-dollar grossing Gears of War 3 and 4 games, as well as other popular games like Grand Auto Theft and Scarface. You know, I could go on and on with the many accolades of Ice, but I think we need to invite him to the stage now. Ice, please join us.
What's up?
It is so good to have you. Like,
New Hampshire, what's good?
So you've done so much, right? And I really found it very difficult to figure out where to start. So why don't we kind of go back a little bit? And I know that you had a time where you lost both your parents at an early age.
Yes.
How did you deal with that?
Well, I was living in Summit, New Jersey at the time. I was born in Newark. And my mother died. I was in the 3rd grade. And we were watching the TV show Batman. Y'all don't know nothing about this. This is black and white Batman and Robin, on TV. I'm okay. And my mother just leaned her head back, and I didn't know, but she was having a heart attack. And back in those days, kids were separated from that type of stuff. So we lived in a duplex house. So they moved me over to the neighbors. And then later on that night, I found out that she passed away. I didn't go to the funeral. They kept the kids separate. We didn't take the kids to the funerals and stuff like that. But that was when I lost my mom's. And it was interesting because I really didn't cry. I was in a warp space like, so what's going to happen to me? That's where my brain was. It's kind of like in shock. And then I lived with my father in the same house. And then he was a working man. He worked at a place called Rapid Stand that built in conveyor belts. But he was interesting because during the day he was a working man, but at night he would dress like a pimp, right? He come home, he'd throw on his hat and his suit and his gaiters and stuff, because now he was single because my mom's had passed and he was out in the street,
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, you portraying a player, but you really a working man. But I used to roll in the back of the car with him on his dates, and he would just throw me White Castle burgers.
Oh, wow. I remember those.
Right, he would just be like, here's 20 cheeseburgers, chill, I gotta go run upstairs. Now I know what he was running upstairs for.
Right.
But I was like, I guess he's going to say something. But, I would go on his dates, no babysitter. I sat in the back of that car and ate White Castle. And then he passed when I was in the 7th grade from another heart attack. It's been written, like Wikipedia, don't believe anything on Wikipedia. It's all bull. It's not real. So, but what happened was I was in school, I was in the 7th grade, and they called me into the principal's office, and everybody had that face. And I was like, okay. And they said, your father passed. And once again, I didn't cry. I was like, so what's going to happen to me? So I ended up getting shipped to Los Angeles to live with his sister. And that's where people say, well, Ice-T, you're a West Coast artist. That's kind of like where my life kind of started. But I was unwanted there. My aunt was a social worker and an alcoholic. So she would be drunk every night, and she was the woman who would decide what foster homes kids should be. So right now I'm seeing how dysfunctional the world is. Like, you're the lady that chooses where kids go, but you're all messed up or fucked up. Let's get some words out right quick. Now, before we go, I use every word in the English language fluently, all right? And a lot of people have this thing called profanity. But profanity, if you guys look it up in your dictionary, they'll say something that's irreverent or blasphemous. But the word shit, pussy, bitch, all hoe, those cannot send you to hell. The only word that could send you to hell would be, I'm loving watching her do this, would be God damn it, if it was used in the sentence, God be damned. And we're not going to hold a ritual here tonight. Now, what these words like fuck, these are just taboo words that bring attention to the sentence. So like your mother says, don't take the car, and your father says, don't touch my motherfucking car. What he did was he said a taboo word which brought an attention to this sentence. That's all it is. Because the car can't fuck, more or less fuck your mother. Now, what happened is, if anybody's going to hell, it's them saying that you're going to go to hell for that. That in itself is using the Lord's name in vain. So if somebody's going to hell for teaching you profanity will send you to hell, it'll be your parents, okay? That's who's going to hell, not you. So these words I say, they're explanation points, and don't get in the exits
caught up in that.
lit, well lit. So you guys can figure out if you want to sit this one out. But anyway, back to my lingo, the way I talk.
Losing your father at the age of 7, right?
Yeah.
Which is a very kind of important developmental age for a young black brother. Who did you look for role models to fill that gap?
Well, I didn't really have any role models until I got to Los Angeles. Like, when you're a kid, you know, you're just hanging out with kids. You got bullies, you got different people, but I didn't really admire anybody till I got to high school, and you know, then I was introduced to the gangs. But after high school, the only people in my neighborhood that were doing well were the hustlers. The drug dealers, the pimps, the players, because where I grew up, there were no, how would you say, professionals. There were no doctors, there were no lawyers, and none of the parents were even doing that well. So if a kid went out in the street and he would hustle, he would actually, you know, in a week, we would make more money than our parents probably had ever seen. So it's very difficult when you're on that slippery slope. There weren't rappers. There weren't even that many black athletes back then. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about in the 60s. So there weren't many role models for black kids at that time.
And if you could take us a little forward, so now you're out on the West Coast.
Yes, sir.
You're starting to kind of be involved in gangs. What was that allure?
Well, the gang thing was different. Like, when I got to LA, I was in junior high, and I was bused to a white junior high school called Palms, which is in Culver City, because they were busing kids from the urban areas, the black communities. They would bus us, you know, to integration. And that was cool to us. You know, we got to go to a good school. And the first thing I learned when I got to that school was white girls love black guys. We got off the bus. It was like the Jackson 5 was landing. Like, they would be waiting on us. And the white boys didn't really have a problem with it because they thought we were cool, too. So everybody was like, you know, all the girls would line up, and only the sisters was tripping. The sisters was tripping. Like, oh, you want to talk to me when we home, but once you get on the bus, you running off with Sally. You know, I'm like, Sally likes, you know, Sally's cute, you know? So I went to junior high school at Palms, and I had a great time. But when it was time to go to high school, I wanted to go to a school that was in my neighborhood. That was Crenshaw High School. Now, you guys know about Nipsey, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle, right? He's from Crenshaw. That's my neighborhood. Well, the Rolling 60s is what the gang is called. They call themselves the neighborhood. And that's the hood of Crenshaw area. Crenshaw High School is made up of 4 gangs. It would be Harlem Crips, Rolling 60 Crips, ETGs, A-Tray Gangster Crips, and Hoover Crips, all Crip school. And I was introduced to them. Now, it was kind of like the first place I ever heard somebody really tell me they love me, you know, because it's different. Like, gangs there's a lot of positivity in a gang. A gang says to you, I say, my brother, me and you are down. And if anything ever happens to you, we gonna get revenge. That's something you wish your father would tell you. I don't, you know, your father don't tell you that. And the fact of it is, if something does happen to you, we do seek revenge. So there's something really into being a man. There's something that's cool about that. Now, although this is misguided and it ends up bad, at that time in your life, it just seems like where you want to be.
Right, at that moment.
Yeah, so I was a gang affiliate. I never jumped into a gang, but I was connected to all these different Crip sets, and I was able to connect to the shot callers. So I never had any gang problems. So I was called an affiliate. I never put in work for the 60s. I never did drive-bys, but I was, you know, always down by law, yeah.
So how has that impacted how you raise your kids, that experience?
Well, my kids are different. Like, my son almost turned out to be the kids I used to hate. Like, my son got picked up because by the time I had my son, little Ice, I was successful. So I picked him up from a hospital in a Rolls Royce. He's wearing bathing ape sneakers, $250 sneakers. He don't know nothing about no hustle. He's always had it. He's wearing the nicest clothes. He been in the club since he was 15. Why? Because I took him in the club when he was 15. So now what can he really rap about? Like what is his life? He's kind of spoiled. One day he called me. He said, yeah, Dad, you know, I'm out in LA. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting in all these spots. I got juice. I'm like, nigga, I got juice. I got juice. That's my juice. You know, like, what are you talking about? So, you know, he's an interesting gentleman, but he always answered the phone calls from my boys in the penitentiary. And he doesn't want anything to do with jail because his entire life, he had to deal with my friends who were doing life in different penitentiaries. And they would tell him, one of my boys, Tony, who's stuck, he been in Pelican's Bay for God knows how long, he'll never come home. He said, let me speak to my nephew. And he told him, he says, let me tell you something, cuz. He says, if I ever find out you behind these walls, I will have you killed. So this is his uncle telling him that, scared the shit out of Ice. And then you know what I told Tony? Thank you. You know, because he told him, he says, you're privileged. You're not like some of these cats in here. And when they see you, you know, you have advantages. They're not gonna give you a pass. Plus, his mother's Mexican and he's black. He don't even know what car he would be with, because in the California, the car is who you roll with in prison. The Mexicans and the blacks don't click. So he's in, you know, he can't go to jail.
So you spent a lot of time giving back to the community and actually being socially involved in current issues. Based on your experience in these issues, what's most relevant to you today?
Well, I give back. The way I give back is kind of like what I'm trying to do here today. Because I've been through different things and I've overcome certain obstacles, I try to tell people what they can achieve. And that's my way of giving back. I mean, what you guys are looking at, if you want to know about obstacles, you're looking at basically a career criminal. I used to commit multiple felonies in a day, 2, 3, 4. One time we robbed a bank and then robbed a bank on the way home from robbing the bank. We just stopped. We got that one was easy. Let's get this one. And I got away. Now, this same guy who everybody would have been like, throw away the key, is the longest running cop in television history. How the fuck did that happen? What a difference a day makes. You know, also the guy who wrote Cop Killer. But see, I tell people that there's walls and then there's obstacles. Obstacles have to just be maneuvered over. Certain things are walls. All the women in the room, you guys are women. That's it. I'm black. I will always be black. That's a wall. That's something I can't change. But certain things are just obstacles, but they look like walls. And then you just have to learn how to navigate them. And I've mastered navigating walls. I'm navigating obstacles. One of the quickest ways to figure out how to navigate an obstacle is see if you can see somebody on the other side of the obstacle. They can tell you how to get the fuck over the obstacle. So, yeah, so like say for instance, I don't know, you want to be a computer, it's something in tech world, right? And you think it's impossible. But if you could talk to somebody that's at Silicon Valley, who's on the other side where you want to, they might be able to give you the golden keys to get through. But your friend sleeping on the couch, he can't help you. He doesn't know. You know, so you've got to find the right person that can give you the jewels to navigate where you want to go.
What has been one of your greatest obstacles that you've been able to navigate?
I don't know. I think the hardest thing you got to deal with is prejudice. It's people prejudging you by how you look or where you're from, just assuming that you can't do something before they give you a chance to do it. But I overcome those. You know, you just have to be excellent. You can't be good. You have to be excellent. Right. That's the key. Like good might get in, excellent always will. You just got to be better than anybody. And you got to believe. You gotta look at yourself like, am I a winner or a loser? If you feel you're a loser, you're gonna always lose. But you have to behave like a winner. When you hit that wall, you be like, nah, fuck that. I'm a winner. This doesn't happen to me. And you have to keep masterminding past it. You have to have that unstoppable mentality. And that comes with victories. It doesn't just start, like a lot of y'all might not have it yet, but as you start to achieve victories, that confidence builds. And then it's like, you just become a monster. You just like, what? Like you could be a photographer and I'd be like, I could do that. Give me that camera for a half fucking hour. I'll figure that shit out, because you start to learn that I can master this. And then you just take on a whole new attitude. And it's not arrogance. It's not arrogance. You know, like Ice Cube said, everything becomes easy once you take the time to learn how to do it. Right. But you have to be willing to take the time to learn how to do it.
Doesn't happen overnight.
No, nothing happens overnight.
How were you able to make the transition from rapping to acting?
Well, I think it's all entertainment. So someone who can sing, probably could dance, may be able to act, maybe could tell jokes. I think entertainers and artists like that, they've got a lot of different facets. So I think acting starts when you're starting to make music, because in music you're acting. You're not really singing everything. You're creating different scenarios to make music. Like say an R&B singer, one record is I Love You, the next record is Baby Don't Leave Me, the next record is Better Since You're Gone, what are you, bipolar, tripolar? So you have to put yourself into these different modes and these different emotions. Or as a singer, I can listen to somebody else's story and make a song for them. So that's a form of acting. When people say, well, you did cop killing, you playing a cop, I'm like, well, I was acting. I'm not a cop killer. I've never killed any cops. I portrayed that role in a song. So it's not, you just have to be willing to learn. So when I got the chance to act, that was New Jack City. And yeah, you could clap if you ever heard of this thing. And I was just rapping. I just put out the original Gangster album, and I'm minding my business. And I was at a club, and Mario Van Peebles, I was in the bathroom talking shit. And somebody was talking to me. I said, well, you know what it is, man? You know, if they could put me under a microscope and find one molecule in me that gave a fuck, then they could angle me, but they can't angle me and I was just talking my bullshit, you know. Shit talking is shit talking. I don't care where you're from. Y'all understand it. Grandpa did it, you know. It's just talk. Yeah, motherfucker, I'll whoop your ass up and down the street 4 or 5 times. You know, it's shit talking. So I'm talking my shit, and then Mario Van Peebles said, well, whoever said that needs to be in my movie. So I'm out there, I'm conversating with a few ladies and stuff, and he walked up to me and he says, I'd like you to be in a movie. So I thought it was the Hollywood bullshit. Like Hollywood people will walk up to you and say, we should work together. I'm like, dude, my numbers, you can find me, just because we're in front of each other, you don't have to give me that. So I thought he was lying. He gave me the number. I called the next day. It was Warner Brothers Pictures. I got to Warner Brothers. I went there, and they showed me the script. And it was like all the words. I'm like, yo, like this is like the star. They're like, well, Wesley Snipes and you will be the stars. I'm like, I can't act. You can act. You can act. I'm start reading it, and I'm like, well, he's a cop. It's acting, Ice. It's acting. It's make-believe. I'm like, yeah, but I got an album coming out called OG. I'm like, he's got dreads. I got a perm, baby. Like, I mean, like, what are y'all trying to do to a player, man? Like, I was really torn about it. But then I asked my friends, I said, yeah, they want me to be in a movie. you know, they want me to play the police. These are street cats. I'm like, they want me to play the police. I'm like, they like, word? Could I be in the movie? Like, nigga, I'm talking about something serious now. Then my friends were talking from jail. I would talk to them and they'd be like, I'm like, man, I know you in the bowels of the devil, man. You dealing with it, but they want me to be a policeman in a movie. Word? If I was out, could I be in the movie? You know, like, and then I used to get my hair done at this place called Good Fred's, you know what I'm saying? I used to get the lot of body put in with the magnetic rollers, and you know, my shit was more wavy than the ships in the Navy, you dig what I'm saying? You know? Gotta make the girls understand that this is something they're gonna have to work for, you dig what I'm saying? So I'm sharp as, you know, steak knife, I'm every day. So the girls in there, this girl named Pearl who used to do my hair, she used to be like, nigga, if you don't do that movie, you a sucker. Y'all complaining about having no opportunities, and now here's an opportunity. If you don't take it, Ice, you a real sucker, and I know you smarter than that. You go do the movie, you're gonna be big, and I know you're gonna keep it real, you're gonna always stay true to where you from, because we know who you are, but don't come back up in here, you know, hustling, when you had a chance to do a movie. And so I did the movie, and I got paid $23,000. The movie made $150 million. I got paid $23,000. That was my welcome to Hollywood, and you know, that was my first movie.
Crazy.
I'll tell you a quick story though. Right after that, I got a chance to be in another movie with Denzel Washington. So you say $23,000. I'm like, okay, so Joel Silver's producing this movie. It's called Ricochet. John Lithgow. I'm about to be a star. Now, I already knew I took my lick. So I walk in Joel Silver's office. I'm like, yeah, Joel, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, you know, they did me on New Jack City, man. I know I'm about to get paid. You know what he said? Ice-T, you've done one movie. I'm like, Lord, so I just pulled him down again and bent over and pow. You know, and that movie, I got like 3 times the money for less work, but that was my move up the food chain. You'll never guess the movie that I got the most money for right out the bing.
What was that?
Tank Girl. Tank Girl. Now I'm doing Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves, who had just been a big star. What was the one with the bus? He was running for people. Speed. So I'm with Keanu, motherfucker. I'm with Keanu Reeves. We're doing a movie. I'm like, yeah, I'm moving up the food chain here. You dig? So I get a phone call, and they go, we want you to play a stripper in Arizona. I'm like, hell yeah. Hell yeah, you know? So that night I did like 1,000 sit-ups, right? I'm like getting ready. I'm ready. You know, OG cover. I mean, I was swole. I could get it together for that. So I'm ready to go. So the next day, they send me a photo, like a fax of a kangaroo. I'm like, a kangaroo? What kind of stripper am I with? What is it? Do I got a pouch? Like, what? So they like, no, it's not a stripper. It's a ripper. I'm like, and what's the name of the movie? Tank Girl? It sounds so generic. I'm like, am I not with Keanu Reeves? Like, do we owe money? Like, what are you talking about? And they go, well, Stan Winston is doing the. I was like, oh, Stan Winston, that's the money, like that. And then they was like, they say, okay, they want to pay you. I'll say it. They got 1.2 million. We probably can get 1.3. I was in the hotel room like. I'm like, I'll be the baddest kangaroo. Like, are you telling me you got $1 million? Man, listen. And that was the payday, Jack. And I mean, it was crazy. It was like 3 hours of makeup to put on and 3 hours of makeup to take off. But that was like a cult movie. But that was like, you know, the numbers was there.
Right.
See, people are, well, you sell out. See, selling out is when you do something that's against your agenda, or you do something that's against your beliefs. I got nothing against fucking kangaroos. No problem with them. It didn't mess with my morals or anything. I was like, I could do that. Let's go. And I was able to build a studio. You know, I had watched Orson Welles' show, and Orson Welles said he didn't like acting. He liked directing. So he would act to allow him to direct. So I liked music. So I would do movies to make money to make music. And I was able to, with those movies, build my own recording studio. So I had my own plan.
Nice. So you've been able to become and maintain a level of relevancy, right? So I was sharing with my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to be talking to Ice. I'm going to be talking to Ice. And she's like, you wearing your pimp hat? I'm like, no, I'm going to wear my pimp shoes, though.
Them is player, though. I saw them, too. That's some old candy apple root beer player shit. I see you.
So my question is, like, what is it you think that keeps you relevant?
Well, I don't like the word relevant. Well, yeah, thank you, sweetheart. But I don't like the word relevant because relevance is based on perspective. So to a kid on the street, what's relevant could be the new Jordans. What's relevant to a billionaire could be the price of jet fuel. See what I'm saying? So it depends on what perspective you're dealing with in relevance. I think as far as just being still in the game, let's say that, and still known, like she said, I kind of cornered the market on being honest. Like people say Ice-T will tell the truth, even if it hurts him. You know, he's going to be blatantly honest, and it's a damn shame that that's a commodity nowadays because people are so skewing the truth. They're trying to be popular. They're saying what they think people want to hear, and you know, my mama, when she was alive, they would always say the truth will set you free. So there's no reason to lie, you know, like, I just tell you the truth. Now, if it's a youngster, like, coming from college, that's all they want. It's going to be hard sometimes. You know, medicine don't taste good. But you want it straight. Just give it to me straight. Like Coco's girlfriends will come over and say, well, I'm dating this guy, and, you know, I don't know if he really likes me. I mean, I'm like, how long have you been dating him? A couple months, and I just don't know. I said, have you ever been out with him in the daylight? Have you ever gone out during the day in public in a date that didn't result in sex? Now that I think about it, yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's what it is. And now that might be hard because your ego doesn't want to admit that you're a booty call, but that's what it is. I hope I didn't offend anybody in here because if you're dealing with a guy that won't see you in broad daylight, that's a problem.
Right? The truth hurts sometimes.
That's a problem, you know? When a guy likes you, you're going to go to the park and chill and it's going to be nothing. It's going to be fun. But guys don't spend that time with people they're not serious with. And that's just one of the straight facts. I got them for guys too. But, and it only comes from experience.
Right. I want to back up a little bit and have you address your experience when you go to speak in prisons.
Right.
What is that like for you?
Well, see, when I talk to like junior high kids, I try to get them to go to high school. When I talk to high school, I want them to go to college. College kids, I want y'all to take over the world. I want you to just go and get everything that's available to you, not set limits. Prisons, they're telling me what to tell kids. It's reverse. So I go in there and they go, Ice, you know, you got away. Don't send nobody here. Tell the brothers this, tell the sisters this, tell them that. So it's kind of like different. Because what am I tell somebody in prison? You know, they've already made their mistakes. And a lot of times I'm dealing with lifers. So they spend a lot of time telling me what to tell the youth.
Outside,
Yeah.
Right. That's huge. So when you look back at all your accomplishments, what's that one accomplishment that kind of makes you feel the proudest?
My biggest accomplishment is transferring my mind from the street life. It's transition from the rules and the code of the street to the legitimate world. Just transition. Anybody who's ever been in trouble, who's been through any type of addictions, when you feel like I'm stuck in this other side of the world, when you finally can transcend into another place of legitimacy, it's a big move, you know? And I had to learn, like, it's like in this world I live in now, if somebody does you wrong, you sue them. Like, I'm like, what happened to knocking on that motherfucker's door at 2 a.m. with a fucking, you know, but you can't do that no more. But that's my first reaction.
Right.
So I had to actually change my way of thinking and how, because I've changed a lot, but I have to change, and that's hard. A lot of cats can't do it. A lot of girls got boyfriends like, yo, man, he can't shake that. But you have to, because if you want to make it in this other world, you just have to learn different ways and how to become less intimidating.
Right.
Things to that. Now people invite me to their bar mitzvahs. Nice stuff. My boy's like, they don't know you'll tie that whole family up, though. They don't know. And I'm like, no, that's not me no more. Like, you know, it's interesting. The other night, I was coming out of a place with Coco, and this kid just got in my face, and he was just like, yeah, fuck you, Ice-T. You know, you the police now. You this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, shut up, bitch ass. So like, I'm like looking at him, and he was a non-factor. A non-factor is like I could have just knocked him out, smacking him. Like, it was not a threat. So, but he was just running his mouth, and it was getting on my nerves and was taking me to this place. And so I was like, motherfucker, I will walk over there and smack the dog shit out you. And then he goes, I wish you would, and I'd sue you. And I froze, and I said, that's where we are. And I got my ass in the car, and I looked over at Coco, and I said, did you hear him? She says, I told you, all they want to do is get you in trouble. They're trying to draw you into an altercation. I tell you that. That's and I'm like, okay, Coco, you do tell me that shit, you know. It's still a reaction that you have to overcome.
Right.
So when you've lived on both sides of the law, you still, you never really lose it. It just changes. Like I still walk into places, I see exits. I can walk into places, I see alarms. I know different ways. I know escape routes. It's like my brain is still, like I always say, if a serial killer becomes a gardener, is he a gardener or just a serial killer that likes flowers? So do you ever really change? You know what I'm saying? But now I think most of the negative stuff I did in my life was survival. And now that I am surviving, those triggers are gone because I don't have to survive, you know? But I have survival instinct in me. Like, you know, being in the Army and going through all that training and stuff like that, I'm a very calm, cool person. But if there was a problem, you would like to have me with you.
How did you deal with that, actually being in the Army? You were there for 4 years. Like, what was that like for you?
Army was cool. I got my girlfriend pregnant. She was in the 10th grade, and I was in the 12th. And back then, there wasn't like safe sex and condoms. I mean, I thought you needed a prescription to get condoms. Back then, it wasn't like now where they got them everywhere. So I wasn't that experienced in sex. You know, I really wasn't getting no pussy till I was like in the 12th grade. A lot of guys was getting it. I didn't know. I was lying. You know what I'm saying? I was lying. But then when I finally got it, it was good, and I got her pregnant. You know, and I didn't know. And then me being an orphan, I wanted the baby. She didn't really want the baby. I wanted the baby because I didn't have nobody. So I said, I got to do something. So now I graduated from 12th, and I was going to trade technical college to be auto body and fender. That was my trade. And I said, I got to go do something. So I enlisted in the military, and I did 4 years infantry at Hawaii, Schofield Barracks. I mean, it was interesting. I still am military till today. I'm very, every morning me and my wife, we get up and we have a outline of what we're going to do. Military's a good place. At peacetime, I went during peace. I didn't go to war. One thing happened to me in the military that changed my life. I had a Ranger sergeant named Nolan, and one day he looked at me and I was fucking up, and he said, Morrow, which is my last name, he says, you're here because you can't make it in civilian life. And I was like, word? And it really bothered me. And I had to think about it. And I was like, fuck him, And that kind of has been my inspiration. When I came out, I was like, nah, I can prove this guy wrong. A lot of times, positive reinforcement is good, but sometimes a little negative dig will trigger somebody too, And that's what it took for me, to realize I had to come out and do something. I can't make it in civilian life. Yeah. Are you kidding me? So the military was interesting to me. I have nothing but respect for the people that are enlisted and that are fighting. I just don't believe in the politics that sends them.
Right. So I'm always telling my students that it's very important to find your passion, and ultimately your passion can become your purpose.
Yeah.
Where are you? What's your purpose today?
Well, see, I didn't know I was an artist. I didn't know it was an artist because that's not what I set out to do. I set out to be an arch criminal. I was just going to be the ultimate player, and my brain was like so intrigued with the game, hustling and I just see people that are into crime. That's like a cult because the world is backwards. So you get applauded for doing negative things. And if you get a job, like that's square. So the criminal world, they turn life on its head, and if you hang around that mentality, it'll suck you in. And that's where my brain was. I didn't really realize I was an artist. Well, I was reading Iceberg Slim. And I was intrigued with all the way he was, talking about the game. Then rap came. When hip-hop hit, what makes hip-hop so alluring is that it's something anybody can do with a little practice. So when I saw the break dancers, I was like, that shit is dope. Like, and the DJs and the graffiti, it just caught me. And then the rapping, I wanted to be a DJ first, and then I learned how to kind of say some rhymes, and I was getting more attention doing that. And then I had an epiphany. I was like, you like Iceberg Slim, but you're trying to live his life. But really, he's an author. And there's going to be a bunch of hustlers in the world, but they know his name because he wrote the books. So what you don't need to do is live the game. You need to document the game. And then if you listen to Ice-T music, it's not to dance off of. It's game. It's me spitting what I consider close to Iceberg Slim type lyrics over beats. And people dug it. And I'm like, wow, I could do this. And that's when I realized that my passion became art, like creating things. Because I have an interesting... One time I was dealing with a photographer, this lady, and I had seen every camera. By now I had a little fame. And I'm asking her what kind of camera that is. And she goes, oh, well, it's a Nikon. That. She said, you should take pictures. I'm like, why? She said, because all of us have the same cameras, but you have a different perspective.
Oh, nice.
The way you'll take pictures will be not like any other photographer that ever lived because they don't see it through your eyes. That moment I realized I could do anything, right, because it's still all based on perspective. When you watch SVU, you're not just watching an actor play Finn. You're watching somebody with a history that's unlike many of these actors. So my swag, my when I'm in the interrogation room, I don't look at the dude like I'm a cop. When I'm sitting across from that dude, I'm like, this motherfucker just took some money from me and he's finna tell me the fuck I wanna know. I'm a gangster. When I'm in there and y'all feel it, you like, Finn's about to smack the shit out of this motherfucker, right?
Right.
Peter can't do that. When Peter gets, when Carisi gets mad, he starts getting pissed like this. I'm like, calm that shit down, player. Just look him in his eyes and tell him you'll fuck him up. Like, so, because playing a gangster and playing a cop is the exact same acting. Exact. They both are heavies, they both got guns, and they both want answers or there'll be a consequence. It's the exact same way. They both, when we used to be hustling and somebody had too much attitude, we like, that's a cop, dude. Dude is a cop. Because he got a little bit too much flavor to be out in the streets. He feels invincible. He's the police. So that's how we could pick him out. But, I mean, my passion really now is making art, creating things, and then also this is part of my passion. Like being able, like I love Twitter because I can talk to people and I can get response. I mean, you got dumb fucks out there that we block and delete and shit because they just want to just come in. It's like, imagine this is Twitter and there's some dude over there saying, do you wear orange socks? Like, fucking, why are you talking? Like, shut the fuck up. We're having a real conversation. So that's why I block and delete and mute people on Twitter, because it detracts from the people who really want to talk and want to ask questions about SVU or the music or just life. I love Twitter. It's fun.
What is it that has kept you with SVU for so long?
Money? No. SVU, I went on SVU to do 4 episodes. It's my 5th show with Dick Wolf. I did New York Undercover. I played Danny Up. I was out of my mind, smacking kids, crazy. Then I played a gangster in Swift Justice, another Dick Wolf show. I played a pimp in Exile, the Law and Order movie. I was a pimp. They killed me with a bowling pin. Then Life of an Actor. And then I had a show called Players with Costas Mandylor and Frank Hughes. When that show ended, Dick Wolf said, I wish I had a stronger vehicle for you, Ice. I'm like, yeah, right. That's what you say on the way out the door. Law and Order came back. They called me near the end of it. It wasn't in the top 40. And I was trying to create iTunes. I was in LA with a record label. And I was up on MP3 before everybody was, and I was trying to create iTunes. Now, right now, y'all probably saying Ice-T's full of shit. Google on YouTube or whatever, Ice-T invents iTunes, and you're gonna see a clip of me talking about iTunes the way it is 20 years ago, before it happened. But I just didn't have the money to make it happen, and I didn't have a platform, but I broke the shit down. Did they steal it from me? Yes, but that's how it goes. I shouldn't have opened my mouth. But she found it. She's like, oh my God, I'm not gonna, let me tell you something. I'm not gonna sit in front of all these people and lie. There's too much fact checking going on now in America. I'm not Trump. I'm not gonna just lie.
And that's Renee. That's her birthday today.
Happy birthday. I'm not just gonna do that. So what was I talking about? Law and Order. So I get the call and they say, will you do Law and Order SVU? I said no, because I had 15 employees. And they were like, well, just do 4 episodes. And I was like, eh. And at the time, my label wasn't making any money. And one of my buddies, Jonell, was like, go on, man, go to New York, man. You love New York. Take a little vacation. We got this. And 4 episodes turned into 21 years. You know, so crazy. I was on the last episode. I was on the last episode of the first season, so I can claim the first season. And when I got on, show went into top 40, and everything started to happen. Me and Belzer were kicking it, and it's just been a wonderful ride. Mariska is incredible. She's Truly a nice lady. Like people always say, yo, like you just said, how could you be on it for this long? Well, one, they want me. They keep asking me back. And two is it's a wonderful work environment. Everybody is cool. Everybody's professionals. We're all, here's a funny story. So when I get on there, it's Dan Floor, Christopher Maloney, Munch. And I'm not the kind of person that's just going to be friends with you right out the gate. So they like, well, we don't know if you bonding with them and da-dee-da-dee-da. Because I would come in and say my lines and then take my ass. I got shit to do. I'm out. But I wasn't kicking it, like telling stories and shit. So I got them all together. And I said, look, producers are saying they don't know if we're bonding. Let me explain something to you. I used to rob banks in real life. I don't have to like you. I just need to know you know how to drive, you know how to go in the safe, you know how to control the room, you know how to stay on the radio. Guess what? After we rob a few banks, we'll become the best fucking friends that ever lived. And me and Mariska have been robbing the bank for 21 years. Because right now, Law and Order is on. Right now, it's on. But I may not be on the screen. Kelly might be on the screen. But she's helping me keep my job. Peter might be on the screen. So what you learn is that we're all important. I'm bringing a certain demographic to the show. So why shouldn't we love each other? I tell Coco and Mariska, I said, look, my three girls in my life is my Chanel, Coco, and Mariska. And I've made more money with Mariska. So Mariska knows she's got to be number one. But, you know, it was a moment I didn't expect, but it turned out to be a great thing. Since I've been on Law and Order, hip hop made a U-turn. It went in a totally different direction than what I was doing. And my fan base grew up with me. Like the people that were Ice-T fans, now they're adult women with kids, and they're still watching me. They're watching LL on CSI. So it was a move. It was a smart move, even though I didn't know it was a smart move. You know, can I tell a joke?
Yeah.
Let me tell y'all a joke. This is a joke about life, and it kind of explained what happened to me. Okay, and if you know my joke, end of my joke, don't be a dumb fucking yell out my punchline. But that fucks comedians up. All right, this is a joke about a preacher in a flood. And the preacher was in the flood, and the water was up to here. And a boat came by, and they said, preacher, get in the boat. He says, no, women and children first. And the boat left. Water was up to here. Another boat came by. They said, preacher, please get in the boat. He says, no, I'm doing the work of the Lord. You guys get out of here. Water was up to here. Another boat came through. They said, preacher, will you please get in the boat? He says, no, I want to make sure everybody's safe. And the boat left, and he drowned. So when he gets to heaven, he sees an angel, and he sees the angel, and there's God standing over there. He says, can I go talk to God? And he says, sure. So he walks up to God, and he says, God, can I ask you some questions? He says, yes, my son, because I love you. He said, God, I went to church 7 days a week. He says, I know and I love you. He says, I never broke any of the 10 commandments. He says, I know and I love you. He says, well, God, if you love me so much, why'd you let me die? God said, let you die, dumb motherfucker. I sent you 3 boats. I added the dumb motherfucker. But the moral of the story is, the boats in life come to you, you just have to get in them. And Law and Order was a boat, and I almost didn't get in the boat. But my friend told me to get in the boat. So now what I do in life, when opportunities come, I at least get in them long enough to find out I don't want to do them. I just don't blow things off. I take a chance. I'll take your meeting just long enough to find out it's bullshit. But I'll take the meeting because you never know what is a boat. And they come all the time. And a lot of us have missed our boats. And you see it and you go, wow, I should have did that. Why didn't I get in that? So don't end up at the end of your life saying, why not, when all these boats are coming by and you're not taking them? And it's not a religious joke. It's just a joke about opportunity.
So what words of advice would you give students to actually get on the boat?
Just have courage and just don't be prejudiced. Don't say, I can determine what it is before I hear it out. Let the person speak it out, you know? And I'm quite sure there's a lot of people that didn't come to see me today because they already had some preconceived perception of who I am, and they didn't like that perception. But then probably if they sat here, they might like me. So don't do that. Give everybody, a shot. Like, let them talk. It can't hurt. It's only take a couple minutes of your time, but you might, And
you might learn something along the way.
You might pick up something. It could be a jewel.
That.
Yeah.
Right. We're living in a very kind of volatile time with everything that's happening, politically within our country. What's your kind of words of wisdom that you would provide to these young future business leaders, politicians? What's your words of wisdom to them?
Well, I can tell you, man, my life, man, this is the wildest it's ever been. And I've lived through like 5, 6 presidents. It's wild right now. Social media makes it wild. It's just crazy. Like, I think politics put reality television out of business. Like, who wants to watch reality television when you can just watch CNN and the White House? Them motherfuckers is wild as fuck. Like, what are they gonna say next? Like, it's crazy. And I'm just like, I grew up in the day where the president spoke, everybody shut. Mom, hold up, the president's about to speak. And everybody would tune in. We would get ready, and president speaks, and he talks, and he would come on, he would say some real presidential type, president, that was the Now this dude's tweeting off the toilet. Like, really, dude? Like, it took away all the power of the position. Right. I'm not this Trump hater. I just don't. His get down is so bizarre to me, and I don't like being lied to, and dude lies. It's just bad. It's just bad, and also he promotes a lot of hate, and that's bad. And I know there's a lot of hateful people in the United States, but we can't promote that. We can't say it's okay to be like that. And they're gonna look at, the boss, the commander in chief, and if he acts like that, that kind of makes it okay. But politics, you guys could change the world, man. You have your own agendas. You can do whatever you want to do. History is now like, everything keeps changing. I don't know what the next adventure will be, but I know it's got to be led by good people. I think humans, there's got to be good people out there. Everybody's not fucked up. I know a lot of good people. I'm trying my best to be a good person, so I know there's a lot of people like that. But there's also negative people, evil people, and greedy people. Right. And it's going to be a war till the end of time. The problem with the world is everybody wants to be happy. But everybody's happiness infringes someone else's happiness. So you can't be happy. Like me and your neighbors, I like my music loud, you need to get up in the morning. But I'm just trying to be happy, and you're just trying to be happy. Nobody's trying to be mean, So what happens is in life, you have these bubbles of people that you mess with, and you have like-minded individuals. So say, for instance, you play chess. Okay, you hang out with your chess club. These are your chess people. But then you want to go smoke some weed. Some of them don't smoke. So now you got to go hang out with your weed people. All right? Then after that, you want to watch football, or you want to watch your stories, or whatever the girls want to do. But then everybody in this circle doesn't do that. So you create these different bubbles of people that you hang with for different moments of happiness. But nobody's in all of them. Even my best homie don't play video games. So I'm like, all right, nigga, go away for a minute. I'm about to get online. I got my friends, I got my clan I play with on them. I don't even know these kids, you know? But I'm just trying to be happy. So the theory of world peace, forget about it. Forget about it, because even a serial killer is just trying to be happy.
In their own way, right?
They're just trying to be happy.
Right.
So in their fucked up mind, all these people are searching for what they think is okay. Wow. Even like on SVU, we deal with pedophiles, and these dudes don't think there's nothing wrong with it. So there's a whole bunch of people on this earth that are seeking out their own form of nirvana, but it's going to always infringe. All the religions clash. Everything clashes. Yeah. So what I advise you to do, find a crew of people, a few friends that you can kind of coexist with, and ride it out with them motherfuckers. Because this room might get along for a minute to watch Ice-T, but then as soon as we decide to do something, some of us are going to leave because all of us don't do it. It's just no way you can get everybody to get along. Right. And so I've given up.
What we like to do now,
I've given up.
It's been
I just
great.
decide I'm just going to deal with the people and just have, try to watch a little TV, Netflix and chill.
Perfect. So now we're going to open it up a little bit and get some questions from the audience.
Yeah, this is the best part.
So there's two mics, or is it just one? Is it two mics? I can't really see. There's two mics. So what we want you to do is to walk to the mic, state your name, and then ask your question.
And everything's fair game. You can ask me anything about
and you will get the truth.
Television.
It might hurt, but it's going to be the truth.
It'll be the truth. And I also know how not to answer a question, so. Oh shit, what happened? Why'd you scream?
Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm on this
What
side.
happened?
On this side.
Oh, she's gonna say something.
It's a little difficult up this way.
Okay, let's go.
What are you looking at?
Let's go over here.
Okay.
Then this is the fun part, y'all.
Okay.
Let's have fun. Okay, what's your name?
Nicole. My question is, how has your outlook on life changed now that you've had your daughter?
Well, that's a good question. When a man has a baby in the second half of his life after 50 years old, it's like it hits a reset button on his life, because you could slow down, but it made me get healthy. I gotta live. I can't go nowhere. And honestly, she was the accolade that I needed, because another record, another material thing wasn't gonna make me happy. But that baby, my daughter, Chanel, was the best thing that ever could have happened to me in my life at this time. Because when I had my son, my daughter, I was in high school and I was struggling. I wasn't focused. I was just trying to survive. My son happened right at the beginning of me becoming Ice-T. I was distracted by fame. My daughter, I was with Coco the entire pregnancy, went to the hospital, had the baby. Chanel still sleeps in the bed with us. She's 3 years old. And it's just the best thing in the world. But it's a time in my life where I can really appreciate it. So yeah, Chanel has changed my life tremendously. Makes me want to live.
She's beautiful.
Hello, Ice-T. My name
Yes,
is
sir.
John. First of all, thank you for coming. Give a quick round of applause for Ice-T.
Why not?
Yeah, right? Why not?
Even though when I was pulling up, I'm like, this shit look like the forest, son. Like, where's the school?
It is.
Like, word. Okay, go ahead.
So you probably get this a lot, but I just want to know, at what point in your career did they name a drink after you?
Did they name a drink?
Yeah.
Well, they hadn't really named them. I don't know if there's a drink named after me. Ice-T rings like the drink. Read the sign. Ice-T is spelled ice, I-C-E-D, Ice-T. My name is Ice, capital T. But I don't know. I've seen people put like a picture of me frowning as unsweetened and sweetened iced tea. You seen them on the net? Yeah, they put them on it. I mean, whatever.
That was partially a joke. On a more serious note.
Okay, easy with the jokes, dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Leave that to Dave Chappelle.
Now, speaking of comedians, John Mulaney did
Yeah.
a piece on you.
Yes, he
I want to
did.
know what your reaction to that was.
I loved it. And I actually did the intro for the John Mulaney show he had, and I went in and I recorded it, and I said, John Mulaney was shot. The John Mulaney show was shot in front of a live studio audience, and they made me redo it because they said, it sounds like you said he got shot. So I had to change it to John Mulaney show was filmed in front of a live studio audience. But Mulaney's cool. It's the most sincere form of flattery. You know, like when I was on Rick and Morty, just the fact that they would even put me in there is cool. So it was fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Mo. I'm an online student.
Okay.
I had a question for you. I saw that you did the Who Shot Biggie and Tupac series about a year ago. How was that experience, and did you feel that there is a need for criminal justice reform at this age?
Well, I did that with what's her name? Who's the girl?
O'Brien was the last name?
What's her name?
I believe her last name was O'Brien.
You
did the show?
Soledad.
Yeah.
Please don't tape this and show her that I forgot her name. Soledad. I mean, it was a show where they wanted to try to get to the bottom of it. Me being from LA, I kind of knew everything that went on, and I know why it went on, because you got to remember, Pac at the time was rolling with Pyrus. I am from the Crips. So the Crips really didn't care that he got shot. Just keep it 100, because he was rolling with another set. So there was a whole nother narrative that happened in LA. It's like, yo, that's what you get for gangbanging type thing. And I just did the show to try to kind of explain some of the things, trying to make unexplained some of the things that people were putting in, to the narrative that weren't true. One thing I did find out with that is that I know the FBI knows everything. The FBI won't tell anybody, but the FBI was watching everybody the entire time because they wanted them for racketeering. So they know everything, but it didn't touch what they were doing, and they just closed the file. But criminal reform, yeah, there's a lot of people in jail that shouldn't be in jail. There's a lot of bullshit that went on in the crack era. There's people in jail right now doing like double digits for weed. And weed is becoming legal nationally. So there's a lot of stuff that has to be addressed. But you're never going to get true criminal justice reform while you have the prison industrial complex. They're selling stock in prisons. So it's warehousing people. So, I don't jaywalk in New York. I don't test the system. Go straight, young brother, go straight. You break the law now, it's like, I tell cats, I'm like, you break the law now, you may never come home. Real talk. Okay, question.
Oh, hi, my name is Aaliyah. I have to ask this question since I've been watching SNHU for the longest. So, what's the funniest thing that's happened on set while you've been on SVU with your castmates?
I think the one thing that people don't know is everybody that's on that show has a different personality. Now, Dan Cragen, who used to be the captain, was out of his mind. He was the most hilarious, funny guy, but he never smiled on camera. My friend, she's like, he's always mad. I'm like, no, Peter Scandavino is out of his mind. I mean, he is closest thing I worked with Robin Williams before. He's the closest thing I ever met to Robin Williams. He's like scatterbrained. I'm like, dude, you got 500 personalities. He's out of his mind. And Mariska is really funny. She's crazy. I wanted her to be on SNL. I don't know why they wouldn't put her on, but I heard that Dick Wolf and Lorne Michaels have a thing. They don't, politics. But Mariska's incredible. It's just madness on that scene. If you come on the set, it's such a serious show. Behind the set, it's almost like a sitcom. And I think it bothers some visitors because they come on there and they're looking for this serious show and we're all making jokes. Now, when we watch it on television and you put the music and everything, it's like, I'm like, whoa, whoa. But we couldn't keep the set that tense. There's a lot of levity. So I can't really, we had Jerry Lewis on there before. I mean, there's been some great comedians that came on there. But no, it's just mad, it's a madhouse. Let's just say that, all right?
Thank you.
Question.
Hey, Ice-T, my name DeAndre. What was your favorite acting moment?
My favorite acting moment. Wow, that's a good one. I think my most legendary acting moment was in New Jack City when I told Wesley, I want to shoot you so bad my dick's hard. And you know, I ad-libbed that line, and you couldn't really ad-lib in the movie, and I just knocked him down, and I'm a rapper, and that shit just came out. And when I did it, George Jackson, the producers jumped up, they're like, that's in the movie, that's in the movie. What did that nigga just say? What did he just say? That's in the movie. So it was like a moment, but damn, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to pick your favorite moment, but I think that's the one I'm kind of like, that was probably one of my biggest moments, New Jack City, yeah. And it was one of my first films. Cool? Question.
Hey, Ice-T, how you doing? My name is Jay. I remember when your band Body Count came out back in the day. You guys were awesome. Like nobody else was like you. But I also know there are a lot of people that didn't like the band, the music, Cop Killer, and all that. Like, what was it like to be targeted by like the PMRC and all those people back in the day, and just all the attention that the song got?
We kind of liked it because it's kind of like we were punk. And we were trying to push the buttons, and we were going against the grain. So to be approved by the system wasn't what we were out to do. We knew we were pushing against the grain. It got out of hand. I think Body Count's biggest thing was just being approved by other rockers. Being a black band with a rapper, they wanted to make sure we weren't posing. So we had to go out there and kick ass. But, you know, early bands that like Duff from Guns N' Roses became a fan, Henry Rollins became a fan, Slayer became a fan, Butthole Surfers. Like the bands just kept lining up wanting to work with us, and we knew that we had made the grade. You know, when you got Black Sabbath having us produce their album, it's like, okay, we're in. It's kind of like Eminem coming into hip hop. You know, even though black people invented rock and roll, at that time, there weren't a lot of black bands. And Body Count stopped for 10 years, and we came back, and still no band took our spot. And we recently did the Manslaughter album, which sold well. Bloodlust, we got nominated for a Grammy, Best Metal Performance. Now, you got to understand, Body Count's getting best metal performance. We're up against Mastodon. We're up against all these groups, and nobody's bitching. Everybody's like, Body Count might win. So that means we've now made the grade, you know? We didn't win, Mastodon won, and so the new album we're working on now is called Carnivore, and hopefully it'll be better than Bloodlust, and it's just something else I enjoy doing, you know? But thanks for being a fan, man. We're not done. I mean, Mick Jagger's 72, still having babies. We're not done. Question.
Hi, ICE. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm excited to tell you that over 280 students joined online to hear what you had to say tonight, so thank you for sharing that. And a question from the live stream from Patty Shearer. I know, they're out there. Said, hi, ICE. Is there any one show from SVU that you couldn't let go of offset and has stuck with you today?
Not really. I mean, not really. I mean, when I came to do SVU, being the gangster rapper, Mr. Hardcore, all that, when I would read the scripts, they all were like, I was like, this really happened? And then all the writers are like ladies, girls. I'm like, you wrote this? Like, what's that? I think the one was wild to me was the one where the guys were getting their dicks cut off. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Voluntarily.
The Russian one, the very first
Yeah, and remember me and Munch went into the guy's kitchen, and I'm like, they do it? And he goes, yeah, they do it right there on that table. And we were like, that, of course, that's going to bother Ice-T. Men volunteering their shit? No. But what it has done is it's made me more aware of the weirdness of people in a freaky way. I'll tell you, like, I was in Miami, and we were at a nice hotel. And you know how people will have their little baby, like 2-year-olds, naked by the pool? Before this, I would have never thought anything about that. But then I looked and I'm like, there could be a weirdo looking at this baby. So this is SVU affecting my brain. And that would have never came in. So it's affected me because now I know there's creeps out there. There's weird people out there, and you got to be aware. That's it. But not a particular. I mean, I've done over 400, like close, I think 450 episodes. So it's just a blur of fucked up stuff.
Yeah, that's life though.
Yeah, well, people that say they watch, when people tell me I watched every show, I go, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 and 3 times? Yeah, okay. Well, hopefully you're getting something out of it other than motive.
Self-awareness.
I don't know. A lot of people, especially women that are victims and survivors, it's therapy. So they watch it and they see maybe justice where they didn't see justice in their life. So that's cool. But, like, it's kind of a woman show to me, too. It's for women. Mariska's the strong women, and women win, and women. I dig that, and I'm kind of like a hero for the women. But if a guy watches too much SVU, I'm like, okay. All right, sir.
Hi, Ice. My name is Chris. So you were talking earlier about the differences between walls and obstacles.
Yes, sir.
So what's the advice you'd give to someone who looks at obstacles and they see them as walls to help them overcome that barrier?
I mean, it's difficult, Pete. It's difficult. Like, I think somebody has to help identify them as. Well, first thing is, if it's really a wall, no one has gotten on the other side of it. So if someone's on the other side of it, there's a way around it. You just have to figure out what path they did. So if there's something, but then me, I've always tried to go through walls. That's what makes you a pioneer. I want to do stuff that nobody has ever done. So I don't know what you tell to that person. I just think certain people, it's a challenge to them. You know what I'm saying? It's a challenge. They dig it. Chuck D says Ice-T is the only person that does things that totally jeopardize his career to stay awake. So once it's been done, I have no more desire to do it. I only want to do hasn't been done. And I've been victorious so many times that that's the only thing that gives me a rise. But how do you tell somebody? Just don't believe it. Impossible means it just hasn't been done yet. That's what impossible means. How many things did they say were impossible now we're doing, So it just means it just hasn't been done yet. So, challenge the impossible.
Okay, thanks.
Question.
Hi, mine kind of goes off of that one because it's kind of like people have their own emotional barriers and stuff.
Right.
And things they need to get through. But with you've gone, we've been talking about how you go from one extreme to the other.
Right.
And I'm studying psychology with a concentration in addiction. So I am doing a lot of research on stuff. And it's all about kind of your skills. And like, obviously, if you have anxiety, you're not going to be able to do social skills and things like that. But what kind of skills do you think that you had running street stuff, hustling,
right,
that you have learned to apply to, a more acceptable job?
What it is hustlers don't complain, they figure it out. You just can't complain. You got to figure it out. You got to sit back. A lot of times my wife will ask me something and I don't have an instant response. I'm like, let me think about it.
You got to think on it for like 3 days before.
Yeah, let me think about it. Let me try some scenarios that might work. And I'm not successful. My success rate is probably like 25%. You know, I don't win. I lose a lot, but I'm not afraid.
You try.
Yeah, I'm not afraid. You can't be afraid to lose.
Yeah.
You gotta just like roll that one off. Keep trying. Keep trying. But it's really hard to instill motivation into people. You know, like I said, one win usually kicks it off.
Yeah.
And you start to get that confidence. But you're talking to somebody who's been doing things for so many years. Of course I'm super confident at this point, but I wasn't always this confident. I had my doubts. I still have my doubts. Right now I'm about to put out a new album. Like I said, I'm scared shitless.
Yeah.
I'm worried because what if it's not as good as the last album? Then I shouldn't have done it. I should have just left the last one as, you know, it's like, and you know what it is? It's like when you become successful, people go, well, just go do it. Go shit out another record. You could do it.
But do you know how much work goes into that? Like, it's not.
Well, they don't because at this point you've made it look easy.
Yeah.
Professionals make difficult things seem easy. That's the mark of a pro. If you watch football, it looks easy till you get out on the field and them dudes are running 60 miles an hour. So I don't try to act like I can tell anybody how to do it. I just try to motivate, like, it can be done. I pulled it off. I'm not any special. I'm not anything special. You know, I'm far from special, but it could be done. But you gotta first believe. You gotta believe it can happen. Question?
Hey, Ice, my name is Greg. I'm an online student here. Huge honor. Big fan of your work. When you were a part of Lollapalooza back in the day with Body Count, I realized that you used to do some Ice-T material at first and then some Body Count material mid-set, like you would just switch it up. I was always a huge admirer of that. So, I mean, with that said, I mean, did you have like any sort of influence behind that? Like, what was, I guess, kind of your goal with all of that? Because I was always just such a huge admirer of being able to kind of just switch it like that mid-set.
What happened was, when I got a chance to do Lollapalooza, Perry Farrell asked us to be on it, and he said I had an hour set to do hip-hop. I had Body Count. We were playing pizza joints. Right. And I said, this is a chance to break my band. So I said, can I have half the set? And I split the set. So on the first Lollapalooza, at the end of the Ice-T set, I would say, now I'm going to prove to you that rock and roll has nothing to do with color. Rock and roll is a state of mind. Exactly. And then we would turn the guitars on. It's important to me that people know that the same guy doing this can do this. Why am I still Ice-T acting? Because I want you to know it was a rapper. Why is Queen Latifah still Queen Latifah? Why is LL Cool J? Because when you watch them and you go, wow, they can really act, and then they go, well, they're rappers, and you go, well, I don't like rappers. Well, you just complimented them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like,
you were able to kind of transcend both of those things.
I'm not going to turn my back on what got me here. You know, I'm still Ice-T on SVU. Why am I Ice-T on SVU? Because if it wasn't for rap, I would never been on SVU. So those kids that are rapping right now, they could be an Ice-T or a Will Smith or whoever. You know, people don't even believe Will Smith is a rapper now. That motherfucker making so much money. You know, I'm like, Will Smith was fucking the Fresh Prince, man. Stop it. You know, so I'm trying to let people know that don't pigeonhole people. People can do all kinds of things, you know? And that's going to help some kid that might start off wanting to be in music and then say, you know what, maybe I can act or maybe I can run a business like Ice. Everything I do is proof it can be done. When you look at Jay-Z or you look at Puffy or you look at 50 Cent running Power, these are all cats right out of the street making moves, so there's no limits. And especially for y'all, because y'all in college, you got everything ahead of you. You have an advantage. You're making the right moves already. I didn't start making the right moves till I was 27. I was fucking up, you know? So it can be done. You know, you just have to decide, you know, are you a winner or are you a loser? Last question.
Hey, Ice, how you doing tonight? First, I just want to bounce off what you were saying.
Bounce off it, baby.
All right. So here's the deal. When I was a teenager listening to your music, my mom used to give me shit for listening to your music. And then like 5 years later, she's like watching you on SVU talking about how cute you are and oh, Detective Finn is so hot. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's my
Donna,
man's
all right.
question right there. There it is, right?
Right there, right? So then I'd be like, oh yeah, here's the same guy, same thing. So now you know. Here's my question. Is Ice the business, Tracy the man, or are they the same thing? And if they're separate, are there life lessons that one learned from the other?
Yeah, it's two different people. Ice-T is all of me. It's me from the back in the day up to now. Tracy is me now. See what I'm saying? So right now you're looking at Trace. You're looking at Mr. Marrow, Ice. But when I perform, I gotta go. When I do colors, I'm 19-year-old gangbanging on stage. My brain goes there. When I just dropped 2 new rap records. I dropped one called Feds in My Rear View and one called Too Old for the Dumb Shit. Yeah, go to my Instagram. Ice. My Instagram is IceMFT. You figure out the MFs for. And I did 2 videos, and they're like gangster shit, gangster. And people are like, well, that's not SVU. I'm like, well, SVU's acting. This is kind of like acting. Maybe it's like I'm kind of mixing my life in with some gangster movies, and I'm having fun. I'm creating. I'm giving you something. It's entertainment. Yeah, it's 2 different people. But as an artist, I draw on everything. I draw on everything. And then I draw on things that I'm really not, because that's part of acting. When you act, you can't be yourself. You gotta, you're a school teacher, okay? But I'll tell you an interesting thing. When I got on Law & Order, Dick Wolf, they had a backstory for Finn. And he called me, he said, it's not working. It's not working. He goes, Ice, you don't like cops, right? I said, nah, I don't have anything against cops. I was a criminal. To a real criminal, cops aren't the enemy, they're the opponent. They're the opponent. A punk thinks the cop is the enemy. You want to smoke weed and you know it's illegal, and you mad at the police. Well, I'm mad at the police. If me and you gonna rob this bank, we know it's illegal. They gotta catch us. It's the opponent. You're not mad at them, and if they catch you, we play Law and Order. We cuff up. You dig what I'm saying? So I never hated the cops. I hate racists. I hate people that abuse their power. I hate punks like that. So whether you wearing a badge or not, I hate you whether you a cop or not, if that's your get down. You dig? So he said, okay, but you agree we need police. I'm like, hell yeah, there's some bad people out here, you know what I'm saying? So he goes, I want you to play the cop we need. So what he did was he said, Ice, if you magically became a cop with all your distaste for the position, what cop would you be? And that's what I try to play on TV. You ain't never seen Finn be petty about nothing. Finn is after rapists and pedophiles, and they don't even like them in prison. So it's an easy role for me to play. So he's like a cop with Ice-T sensibility. And you guys feel that, but they couldn't write it. You see, it had to come from me, who I am. And now the writers have my voice, and they kind of roll with it like that. So people's like, Ice, you got the best one-liners. I'm like, don't I? You know? But now you guys are sitting in front of me, and you see really me, and then you watch the TV, you go, it is kind of like Ice's Finn. It's like that's who he played. He's very much playing himself in a way, as a cop. If I magically became a cop, imagine that. Okay.
Thank you, Ice. Thank you.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. We really appreciate you coming. Would like to invite ACES on stage to do the wonderful drawing. Or am I doing the drawing? Who's doing the drawing? Oh, you need a microphone?
Is that the baby? I thought that was my baby crying. That's your baby crying? How old is that baby? 1. Already out clubbing, partying. What's his name?
Liam.
What up, Liam?
Say hi.
Liam's fly. Right on, playing my daughter's over there, but
They were making friends.
no. No, she can't have no boyfriends ever.
Okay. If you, your escort can bring you out, unless you want to wait for this.
What's that?
This is the drawing to do the meet and greet with you.
Oh, so you're gonna read them off?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna take some time, so you tell me I can leave?
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. Thank you for having me. People always ask me, they say, one bit of advice. My bit of advice would be take advice from people you admire. Not just cool people, people you really admire. You know, if your girlfriend ain't got no man, do not ask her relationship advice. If your man is sleeping on the couch, don't ask him business advice. Find somebody who's doing what you really want to do and listen to them, because they can give you the way over the obstacle. All right, thank you. And lastly, don't think everything I think, because then only one of us is thinking. Thank you very much. Peace.
All right. One more round of applause for Ice-T.